Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk to you about the current Kenyan problem because Kenya is at a crisis. I want to state that the Kenyan problem cannot be solved in Ruto's terms. And that's why we need a transitional government. The Kenyan problem is economic. It's not political. June 25, 2024 protest was not a political contest. It was not a political protest. It was an economic protest. Reject Finance Bill was the rallying call. Occupy Parliament was the execution. Since then, the government killed, arrested, abducted, and disappeared with several Kenyans. Gen Zs moved to social media hoping for freedom of expression. Due to social media activism, several Kenyans were abducted, the likes of Billy Mwangi, Kibet the Bull. Others murdered, culminating in the brutal murder of Albert Omondi Ojwang, Boniface Kariuki, and now Julie Njoki. It became clear that neither the streets, police cells, social media, nor our homes are safe. Today we buried a 12-year-old Bridget Njoki who died from the police bullet while at her mother's house. Street protests resumed in the commemoration of June 25th. They used excessive force and also introduced goons, killed over 31 people, over 600 people injured, and over 350 people arrested and detained. Its ugliest face was seen in the death of Boniface Mwangi and Julie Njoki. Now President Ruto tells us that enough is enough. Issues shoot the leg orders after his CS Interior issued shoot to kill orders as the chair of committee in parliament in charge of security issues shoot to kill orders. The latest pain is the fact that Jose Kamago was in Kenya to work on the IBC portal and met IBC CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan. This happened as Ruto team disabled the judiciary portal to ensure no petition was filed to challenge the illegitimate IBC swearing-in ceremony. Our petition to challenge the selection panel of IBC without the consultation and concurrence with opposition and with no public participation was put to be heard in September by the High Court, knowing very well the swearing-in is taking place in July. The question is, if Ruto team can paralyze the judiciary portal 2 years before the general elections, just to buy time to install their puppet as IBC commissioners, how far will they go to rig the 2027 elections? We have every reason to not only be worried, but to be very worried about this regime's preparedness to bend the will of the Kenyan people in the 2027 polls, given the fact that this regime has stolen a lot of money in all sectors. Ruto has several containers of money in State House and others in Karen, among other places, that they have started using in some fake program called empowerment, and that empowers no one in Kenya. In Kisumu, for instance, youths are being given 500 shillings each every day there is maandamano to pacify them, and the pattern is clear in other places in the country. Now, connecting the dots, it's clear Ruto says he has a plan. And he's telling us that if we have a plan, let's face him at the ballot. While some people think that Ruto's plan is to turn around the economy, his plan is clear. How can he hang on to power and how to keep stealing public funds? When the president says, if there is no Kenya for him, there is no Kenya for us, he simply means that if he's not the president, then there's no Kenya. Meaning he can go a long way to destroy the whole country if he's not president. So if you're waiting for him in the ballot, wait in vain. So in conclusion, we cannot allow to solve the Kenyan problem in Ruto terms. Albert Einstein said that you cannot solve a problem with the same tools that has created it. The broad-based government has stated that Ruto's 2 terms is not negotiable. They are doing everything possible to realize that dream. Kenyans, we must stop these 2 sworn enemies of Kenyans now and not tomorrow, not in 2027. The economic problem Kenya has cannot be cured with a political solution, especially holding a shambolic election presided over by a grossly corrupt and a grossly incompetent government under the Ruto administration. We therefore need a transition government to preside over a credible election, stabilize the economy, modernize government, and hand over power to whoever wins the election, where Ruto should be free to contest, but in free and fair environment, not presided over by him. The transition government is a matter of urgency since education sector, healthcare sector, cost of living, human rights violations, and economic crimes in terms of rampant corruption, it's at its worst moment. According to today's Auditor General report, public schools are underfunded to a tune of 117 billion in capitation in 4 financial years. The same day today, fuel prices have gone up in spite of the G2G deals by 8 shillings 53 cents per litre. Now a litre of super petrol in Nairobi cost 117 shillings 32 cents. Diesel is at 162.61 cents and kerosene is at 146 shillings 93 cents. The increased cost of fuel will not only increase the household expenditure in terms of transport and electricity tokens, but will also affect the cost of production, thus killing the industrialization opportunities for Kenya that has deteriorated under the Kenya Kwanza administration from 12% of manufacturing to GDP to now 7% manufacturing to GDP. We urge President William Ruto and Raila Odinga that since dialogue can only take place amid a neutral arbiter, that we go for a transitional government to be this neutral arbiter, since we cannot negotiate with someone fully armed with guns, yet we don't even have a knife. All we have is a flag, a bottle of water, and our phones. Even a football coach or a CEO with a 5-year contract, when in the eyes of the owners, they are taking the club or the country nowhere, they are normally paid for the value of their remaining contract for the survival of the company or the clubs. If Kenya is like a plane, halfway on a flight heading to its destination, then we discover the pilot is incompetent, we would quickly change the pilot and still pay him the cost of his flight attendance through the flight. In that regard, we are ready to pay the price of giving William Ruto amnesty against human rights violation he has committed, economic crimes committed, and an attractive package in exchange of the 2.5 years for transitional government. The main role of a transitional government would be to stabilize the economy, provide an enabling environment for free and fair elections, restore the rule of law, national security, and carry out reforms necessary to put Kenya back to the path to prosperity and birth the Kenyan dream. Let us note that every vote that was cast carried with it Kenyan aspirations, which has not been fulfilled, is not being fulfilled. Kenya Kwanza has neither the intention nor the capacity of fulfilling these, hence it won't be fulfilled. We therefore need a transition government to listen to Kenyans made of eminent persons who will not contest the elections in 2027, but to hold the country in trust with shepherd leadership so that the Project Kenya can reach its full realization and not sacrifice the Project Kenya at the expense of one person. God bless you. God bless Kenya. God bless us all. Thank you.